local Montrose resident Samuel Karaoglanis joins me now. Sam, thank you very much for speaking with us. I understand you've returned home now, but tell us about what happened overnight when you evacuated.
Thanks for having me, Selena. Well, I came home after being out with one of my friends, and at about 10:45, and we still had to stay informed, conditions. We were told that it was okay, and then at 11:45, my partner and I heard screaming out on the street. We peeked out the window, and there were people running, and all we saw was just embers rushing down. Quickly jumped up out of bed, put on our clothes, grabbed everything we could, and just sprinted out the front door. And all we saw was just embers like coming above, over top of the house, brushing down the street and hitting cars. And there was just residents all on the street looking up to the top of our street, and there was just fire engulfing the reserve at the top. It was absolutely terrifying. We just hopped in our cars and just bolted it down to the end of the road. To evacuate as quickly as we could. Luckily, my partner's mum lives around the corner, so we went to her. But unfortunately, one of our friends' mums was still at home, and we didn't realise, so we went back to try and get her before anything got even worse. But unfortunately, we couldn't get back up because of the roadblocks. But luckily, one of her neighbours was able to get in and get her out of bed, and wake her up and get her, out of the danger of the fire as quickly as possible. And then we kind of congregated down at the 7-Eleven on the corner of Liverpool Road and Canterbury Road and waited and just watched the fire burn. It was absolutely horrific. We didn't hear a warning. We only woke up because we heard people screaming on the street. And like I said, it was just absolutely terrifying. It wasn't about till 12:30 that we got a watch and act notification. And then at about 10 to 1, we got a shelter in place on the Vic Emergency app, and then 1:30 we got a text message saying shelter in place, it's too late to leave. But luckily we were already down with a bunch of other residents down at the 7-Eleven on the corner.
It sounds quite chaotic, and like the residents were relying on each other to get out of there.
Yes, everyone really rallied together. The community came together. Everyone was out helping each other. We stopped our car a few times coming down the street to make sure that everyone was okay. And everyone was standing on the street, making sure that people were getting out of their homes. Some people did stay, but everyone that left was in support of each other and making sure that everyone was able to escape the fire and escape the danger zone as quickly as possible.
You've been able to return today, I understand. What have you been able to see around this area about just how close the fire got to these homes?
So our street, you can access the reserve at the top of our street. So we walked up there once we got home about 10:30 a.m. this morning. And as we walked up, we saw one of the homes that was damaged by the fire that was on our street, which was next to one of our friends' places. Their whole back half of their home was engulfed by flames, unfortunately. And then as we walked up to the end of the street, we just saw all the charred trees that were unfortunately burnt and destroyed up on the reserve as well. That came basically down to the footpath on the street. The CFA commend them so much. There were so many fire trucks on the street last night, and this morning they still had a fire truck sitting at the top there, monitoring the situation and ensuring that, fire doesn't make its way back down onto the street.
Sam, you said it yourself that it was terrifying. It must be so welcome to see that change of weather today and that rain.
Oh, yes. I just praise when I saw that rain come down. It was just I was so thankful to see it, especially for the firefighters and the volunteers that are currently battling these fires. I can't imagine what a relief this brought to them as well. Over 30 fire trucks, hundreds of volunteers have been out all night battling this blaze, and all day yesterday. So it's a relief not just for the community, but for all of the volunteers that have been out in force helping the community as well.